Hello, hello, everyone. This is your girl, Deni Kay, and this signifies another riveting episode of Absolutely Positively with Deni Kay. Yay! How you guys doing? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. So excited, as always, to come to you with a little bit of IEM feels, a lot of IEM energy, and of course, living the IEM lifestyle. If you're new, you know, you might not know that IEM stands for encouragement, inspiration, encouragement, motivation. I always want to go with encouragement first. That's hilarious to me. But anyway, IEM is inspiration, encouragement, and motivation. And it's what I love to do. It is actually my calling. I feel like that is my purpose in the world. And I love creating and operating in this form that was built especially with you in mind. So each week we come to you with a different quote. We flesh that out for you in hopes that a seed is planted, some air and wind underneath your wings so you can soar throughout the week, just being encouraged and having those IEM feels rather, and just feel good about what your calling is and activate your calling. That's really the whole premise of this time. It's not a long time that we share, but it's something that I love to do. And I do that with the help of our sponsor, which is Mogul Media. They provide this form. Also, they push it out on their platform in hopes that it will help you. And they also have a lot of other good stuff that's in the works or happening right now. So do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe to the 3MG for me and get that notification. And probably some of you already got the notification that this episode was uploaded and ready to view. So without further ado, we just gonna jump in. Okay, we have been talking about for the last 2 weeks about resetting and redoing and just kind of starting over, and very similar to some of the things that you see in a webinar, seminar, or maybe even at church. You operate in these series, and so this one just really hit home for me because I think a lot of times we get stuck. We get stuck in the same rinse and repeat kind of cycle. And sometimes we just need a redo. Now, sometimes we just need to hit the reset button and just be kind of reminded of our gifts and how we can operate in our calling. Because, life takes us over, sometimes submerges us where we are literally neck down dead, as in Yala Van Zant says, where we are just going through the motions and we are just like, when is the end of the day going to come so I can lay my head down and rest and then dread the next day that comes. And so that's what I've been trying to do, is to remind you to reset, to redo, to just, attack each day and operate in this new mercy kind of feel that we get that each and every day. And so this quote kind of rounds out the last two, and I'm going to jump right into it. And it comes to us from S.C. Lourie. S.C. Lourie, and it's very simple, and it says, breathe, darling. Breathe, darling. This is just a chapter. It's not your whole story. Breathe, darling. This is just a chapter. It's not your whole story. All right, S.C. Lourie, I appreciate you because you told me to breathe, okay? Because I understand that sometimes in this submersion of life, where we are just literally underwater. We are walking underwater. I was telling a friend that one day that I literally feel like I am moving. I'm going forward, but I am walking underwater. Like I feel like I just am treading water. Like it's just so tough. And while we're in that mode, one of the most important things that you can remember, especially if you're under stress and a lot of chaos is going on, is to breathe. There are scientific facts that are connected to relaxation, clarity, and sound mind when you breathe. And so her first action, or their first action, because I don't know what SC Lourie is. I didn't look this one up. I just wanted to jump right in. But they tell us to breathe. And so that's what I encourage you to do right now in this moment. Just take a little breath here. One of the wonderful things that I love about this is something that I can communicate this to young and old. It's something that I tell my children, tell my clients, tell my mother, my parents, my father. Breathe. Just take a minute and breathe. Let's breathe. Let's breathe. Let's take it in through the nose and hold it for a bit and just push it out and just take that moment. Of course, it's not going to solve all the problems, but it may give you a little bit of clarity. And that's what they remind us to do, is to breathe. And so they go on to say that this is just a chapter. It's not the whole story. Baby, if I had a nickel, how every time this thought came up in my mind and this helped me move forward, I really would be rich, because I had to say that this just happened in a day. This just happened in this moment. This does not define all that I am. This mistake, this misstep, this story, whether good or bad, it's just a chapter. It's not the whole story. So if you've been rocking with me, you know that words are my jam. Like, it is my favorite song. Okay. Whoever came up with that, which I do know that, but I can't think of right now, just the whole construct of words, and that Webster was actually one of the dictionaries that I studied when I was younger, because I loved words so much, and I love how they're crafted in such a way. And then, of course, because I loved words, I love this definition. I love the fact that one word could have like 4 or 5 meanings. I decided early on that I would construct those in a way that I thought were beautiful, and I started writing poetry. That was my first thing. And then as I moved up in English class and got a few accolades from teachers saying, you really have some wonderful things to say, maybe you should be a writer. And so I did that as well. I became a writer. So I started doing articles, and then I decided to write books, and then be a part of collaboration. So books and stories are really big for me. I really love painting a picture, so no brainer of why I would like doing something like this, right? So for me, every word within that chapter set you up for that particular day, that moment, that year, that time in that town, whatever that chapter had in it, it was an escape for you to understand where the reader was or what they were trying to convey. So chapters are beautiful to me, because they're just a part of the story, and you can have so many chapters, right? A couple of weeks ago, we talked about aging, and I mentioned I had on a shirt that literally said chapter 50, because I'm 50. And so to say that my life is the book, and each year that I've been alive is the chapter. So what has ever happened within that year, that's my chapter. And so SC Lourie reminds us that they're just chapters, which are great, but we don't have to be defeated that one chapter maybe didn't happen the way we wanted, or celebrate too much if that chapter was the bomb.com. But it really is just one piece of the puzzle. It is one piece of the entire story, which I am saying is the life. And so we get to reset, redo chapters, right? That's what's amazing to me, is that we get to do that in spirit and in truth, in every way we want, and get to do it all over again and have a subset of the chapter, right? So I think that this is absolutely beautiful for us to in this reset, redo series is just to know that each day brings a new mercy and adds to your chapter, however you want to round it, however you want to end it, however you want to flow it. And sometimes you set out and it's not what you want it to be, but guess what? You get to do it again. If you have breath in your lungs, if you're able to wake up the next day, then that's a chance to redo, to reset, to refresh. Let's add that. Redo, reset, and refresh. We have that function on our computer, which I love, that sometimes we get kind of stuck on a page. We get stuck in life based on the things that we've done within that day, but you hit that refresh button and somehow it just brings forth everything that you need to go forward, right? If you're trying to go to a new browser or a new tab, you refresh, and that makes it possible. Or you can say that I've inputted all this information and I don't know if people are going to be able to view it, so let me refresh it and make sure everything is saved. Hit that refresh button. That's what we get to do. And just remember that this is just a chapter. It's not the whole story. What does your life look like? Or what do you want it to look like? What does your chapters look like? Maybe yours are like mine and they're within every year you turn a different age. I don't know. Maybe it's each season. Maybe it's winter, spring, fall, and summer. I don't know what your chapters are or how they're defined, but just make sure that you realize that until you take your internal sleep, it is not the whole story. Now, I just want to add this, that, some of us have had some bad chapters in our lives. We have had some things that, I'm trying to get over here into the light, so forgive me for moving. But some of us have had some bad chapters in life where we don't want anybody to read those. We want to keep those private. We don't want to share that story. And it is kind of sensitive to us that we had a bad chapter. But this applies as well, that chapter was just that, a chapter, that you get to write a new one. You get to change the story. Whoa, that hit me. You get to change the story. So you could have a bad chapter. You could have a villain. You could be the villain of that chapter. But you get to rewrite. You get to add. You get to enhance. You get to tweak it a little bit. That next chapter will put them on their knees. How many stories out there? How many shows out there right now where it got you rooting for the villain? Okay? Because there was carefully crafted chapters that as they went along, towards the end of that story, you're rooting for the bad guy. And you're like, well, wait, he's just misunderstood. He didn't get a chance. It's all because the writer made you think that. So just remember that you're the writer of your story. We talked about that too, that you have the paintbrush, you have the pen. You are the author of your story. And just know that it is disseminated in different chapters, but every two chapters are not alike. And you can have it however. You can have the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs, the villains, the twists, all of that. But just know that it's not the end of your story, and it's not the whole story. That you can do whatever you like. Don't have me sing, because I just said that. You can do whatever you like. Okay, sorry, I had to. It was just in my spirit. Anyway, I hope that resonated with some of you, and that this rinse, well, rather reset, redo, and refresh series is getting your juices going of how you want to craft your next chapter. And if you want to share it with me, I would love to hear it. I'm a good listener. I really am. I know I talk a lot in these forums, but I'm a really good listener because I love people. And I am in people. So anyway, that's all I really want to say about that, other than to close, breathe, darling. Don't forget that breath. This is just a chapter. It's not your whole story. Thank you, SC Lourie. Thank you, 3MG, for yet again another chance to connect connect with my people, my I am lifestylers, my absolutely positively with Deni Kay family. It has been my pleasure, as always, to have this forum with you. This is really good. This has been a good series for me. I hope it's been for you. Please tell me in the comments how this series of Reset, Redo, Refresh has been for you. And as always, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter what you touch, make sure you do it absolutely positively, and know that this ain't your only chapter, baby. This ain't your last chapter, that you got a whole story in you to create a different and exciting, wonderful chapter. Okay? And I can't wait to read it. Take care, and until next time.